Hey viewers! I cannot even believe it's been a week since I did my last edited weekend video for this channel. I didn't get around to doing an edited video today, which I normally like to do at least once a week for my channel, but it's been a little bit flexible since this is vlog every day in April, or not really, but whatever this is that I'm doing, vlogging as much as possible. The lighting is probably horrible in here because I'm using my flip cam instead of my new camera, which has an amazing low light camera and everything. Like, I'm so enjoying this new camera so far. It just takes beautiful pictures. What I'm doing today is going through my crystal collection and taking pictures and using the flashlight to test the translucence of various stones and stuff like that. So it's been super fun. Basically, hold on, let me grab my phone over here. Alright, let's see if you can't tell. What is it? Go away. You can't really tell how great this camera is, but just look at the light. Look at the lighting in here with this camera versus the auto lighting on the phone. Like, what? Okay, so, anyway, earlier this week, I started rereading this book that I have, The Magic of Crystals, Color, and Chakra, which I inherited from my mom and she got at Half Price Books. That's a Half Price Books sticker. It is by Sue Lilly, Simon Lilly, Stella Martin, Josephine de Winter, and Gill Hale, or Gill Hale. I'm not sure how that G is pronounced. This is a book that I've had for years. Like I said, I got it from my mom. I've been using it for years as a reference book, but recently I picked it up off my shelf and I decided to read it cover to cover. So I just finished reading the crystals section today, and I learned a lot of things that I had forgotten reading in the past. Like, I knew that a lot of stones were varieties of quartz, and in the quartz family, like amethyst, citrine, stuff like that, they're all varieties of quartz that have been, the colors have been changed because of, like, iron in amethyst is what makes it purple, but otherwise it's quartz. So the only difference between clear quartz and amethyst, as far as its physical makeup, is the presence of iron makes it purple. And then if they heat amethyst, it turns gold, which is citrine, or citrine naturally occurring is some other mineral impurity that makes clear quartz turn yellow. But I forgot, and obviously, like, I've read it in this book before, so I must have known it at some point, but it's good to reread things because I forget that other things, like red jasper is also a quartz, and green aventurine is also in the quartz family. Like, so many things are basically quartz with just some different variations. So all of these crystals got cleansed last year in my old apartment before I moved, and they've been packed up. They were stored in that box in all of these different boxes. I have some kunzite and kyanite in here. All these different boxes and little dishes and stuff, little containers, these all had my crystals in them. So I decided to get them out and go through them again, and I found this red bag that my mom had given me that I forgot I had, that has bags of crystals and rocks and stones, like all different types of things that I haven't gone through. And some of them she purchased from a stone store, so they actually have labels on them saying what the stone is and where it's from. So some of them are already identified, like this is soapstone from Washington. Oh my gosh, soapstone feels so nice. But a lot of them don't have labels and are not pre-identified for me. So what I'm doing is this section here, kind of in the front, these are like the big rock ones, and then all of these things here are things that I don't 100% for sure know what they are. Like these, I'm pretty sure are just varieties of dyed agate that I've had for years. That's what I've always considered them, is just dyed agate, which they are agate, but I don't know which ones are dyed and which ones are naturally occurring colors, so they're just still in this place until I look up more about them, because basically these are all the things that I want to look up and learn more about. There's these are banded agates. I've always just used this on my altar and considered it a banded agate, which is what it is. But yeah, these are like things I want to look up more about. There's a lot of black stones that I haven't identified yet, and then these are the black stones that I do know what they are. I bought a jet stone from a store that, said, this is jet, because one of the main ways you can tell the difference with the black stones is their translucence and their weight, and then usually whether they're shiny. So, I know you can't feel it, obviously, but if you ever get a chance to get your hand on a piece of jet, feel it, because jet is, weightless. It weighs pretty much nothing, and so this stone that I have is much heavier. So I'm like, okay, even though it looks very similar, but this one has a dull finish and this one is shiny, their weights are drastically different. So I know that they're not both jet. Whereas this little stone that someone gave me is also very, very light. It has a rune carved into it. But it's very light, and it is also opaque. You can't see any light through it, so it could very well be jet. So sometimes I compare them to things that I know what they are. Like this, I know is obsidian because it was labeled, and that it's a translucent obsidian, and so is this little guy. But when you hold this one up to the light, you can clearly see through it. I know the lighting in here is terrible, but you can tell, you can see through that. It's kind of, you can see shadow, see? Yeah. So translucent obsidian like this is sometimes called Apache's tear. This stone here has a label on the bottom of it that says it's Apache's tear, which should be a translucent obsidian. But when you hold it up to the light, you can't see any light through it. So I've always wondered, why did they call that Apache tear when I cannot, I can't see light through it. So, hold on, I'm getting my phone with my other hand because I want to show you. So, here's the jet. You can see the light around it, but you can't see any light through it. Here's the really translucent little guy. Woo, so much light coming through. So here's the one that's labeled. This was the first time today that I put this in front of a flashlight and realized you can see through it. This camera's bad, but you can see through it. And then I found this other little piece that I was like, oh, what is this? And I put a bunch of these little pieces over top of the light, and this one is translucent. The light comes right through it. So that's how I know, oh, okay, this goes with that. These are translucent obsidians. These are not. I don't know for sure what these are yet, but I know now that they are not translucent obsidian because the light didn't come through them. So there's a lot of little... Alright, I'm turning my flashlight off now. Okay. There's a lot of little tests like that you can do. And in this book, it gives you descriptions of things like that. And in the back, it has... I was putting some of this on Instagram. But in the back... Dang it! In the back, it has these tables listing the chemical formula of the crystal, the typical colors that it comes in, the type of crystal system, the hardness on the Mohs hardness scale. Is that what it's called? Yeah, the Mohs scale of hardness. And then it has what chakra and what subtle body it usually is used for in metaphysical, magical type things. But so, over here, clear quartz is SiO2. It's silicon dioxide. Citrine is the same, as is bloodstone, blue lace agate, Botswana agate. Indeed, I learned that all agate is a form of quartz. Amethyst is SiO2 plus Fe, which is the iron that makes it purple. Citrine is SiO2, as well as green aventurine. That's how I realized that, because I was like, oh, I didn't know that aventurine was, or I used to know and I forgot. Milky quartz is listed separately. Moss agate. What else? Red jasper. Here, so there's some that I didn't think would be. Of course, rose quartz. smoky quartz, of course. So stuff like that. And then it gives you like a hardness scale, because stones that look very similar, like, okay, jet is organic carbon, typically black or dark brown. It's an amorphous structure, and it is a hardness of 2.5, so it's a very soft stone. It doesn't give a weight on here, but it is a very lightweight stone. As opposed to obsidian, which is igneous rock with inclusions. Obsidian is volcanic glass, essentially. I know you guys can't read this. Obsidian has an amorphous structure as well, but it's a hardness of 6, so it's much harder than jet. What else? Onyx isn't on here. Onyx is another one that is very commonly mistaken because it's the same color. And tourmaline. So some things that are talked about in this book are not listed in this little table in the back, which I wish they were. But you can, oh here, black tourmaline, or schorl, has a really, really long chemical formula. It's black. Trigonal structure, similar to quartz. And it has a hardness of 7 to 7.5. So there's a lot of different ways that you can look at things. And then in here it has pictures and descriptions, of course. So there's just, yeah, like I said, there's a lot of things here that I think I know what they are. Like I bought this one, someone told me that this was amazonite. So if I assume that this is amazonite, these look very similar, but they don't have the same necessarily structure. But it's hard to tell because these two are raw, unpolished, and this is a tumbled, polished stone. So these could be amazonite. So, and because these are both raw, I can tell, you know, they look more similar to each other. I can tell that they have the same structure and pattern, even though this one is greener and this one is more of a blue. So that's just something that I'll have to look up. And I'll look up amazonite and see, like, okay, does this make sense as being these things, or is this maybe aquamarine, or, you know, what could this be? And like this piece here, it's purple, and it looks kind of like quartz, so I might be tempted to automatically say it's amethyst, but if you were able to see it more closely with this camera, it has an interesting, different sort of structure, similar to this blue stone that I have, which I believe is celestite, and I need to double check this, but I believe that's what I was told it was when I bought it. And it has a very similar structure to this. So this purple stone might not be amethyst. Just because it's purple and it looks like a purple quartz doesn't necessarily mean that that's what it is. So I'm going to look up what other kinds of purple stones might have this structure before I, you know, decide for sure and put it over in the amethyst pile, you know. I have a ton of amethyst all over my house. And like this is a raw stone that is mostly green with little bits of red in it. So it might be a raw bloodstone. It might also be ruby and zoisite. I don't know, just based on the colors. So there has to be some other things that I look up. I have this little pile here of like blue and green stones that a lot of them look exactly like the other, and the green ones look like some of the blue ones, so they might be green and blue variations of the same type of stone, but I don't know for sure what they are. So, yeah, this is so a lot of these are things that I just got out of one of these little baggies, and as you can see, I have multiple baggies yet to go through, but that's what I'm doing right now, and I'm reading this book cover to cover, because I just felt like it. I just felt like re-studying crystals and all the other good stuff in this book, so I really like it. So I have a bagel with vegan cream cheese, Tofutti brand, which is the best. It's called Better Than Cream Cheese, and it really is. And I have my chai over here, a little chai latte situation, and that's what I'm doing. So, I hope you are having a fun weekend, whatever you're doing, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to be awesome, blessed be, and goodbye.